The Golden Knights handle business on the road. They sweep the three-game road swing and they run the win streak to 6 in a row. Next on the agenda, clinching a playoff spot. Then that could happen as early as Tuesday night. We'll recap the weekend games and much more on the way right here on Locked On Golden Knights.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco here, the host of the Believe in Vegas podcast, longtime sportscaster and marketing and events consultant. He is Chris Golick, the owner of Silver State Sports and Cards and collectibles editor for the Hockey News. Coming up on today's show, we're going to be recapping both weekend games, and we'll talk about what happens if Ilya Samsonov is out for an extended period of time. Let's first talk about the Nashville game down in Music City. And the Predators scored first on Saturday on a Ryan O'Reilly second period goal following a scoreless first. And he scored that goal with William Karlsson in the box for an unsportsmanlike penalty. Sounds funny, right? And
it does. Cassidy was funny about it in the postgame too.
He said he couldn't hear the whistle or something. And then Jack
he shot the puck after the whistle, like at the net, or set the goal, I'm assuming.
Yes. Okay. And then Jack Eichel scored the leveler as it ended up one apiece at the end of the second. And then the third period, where VGK has been excelling of late, it was all VGKs. Riley Smith scoring on a power play goal, and that was his first since his return to Las Vegas. The game winner was, again, off the stick of Riley Smith, and then Brett Howden had the empty netter, 3-1 VGK, very workmanlike as the Golden Knights prevailed. And the big story there was just moments before the start of the game. I think it even caught State Run a little bit off balance there, but Adin Hill had to play the game his second time in 2 days, the back-to-back, as Ilya Samsonov said that he felt something tighten up, and he was scratched just minutes before the opening faceoff. And just last week on this very show, I was questioning why Hill doesn't play, or any goalie for that fact, that they don't play back-to-backs anymore. Even though they might have momentum. And it was a walk in the park, if you will, for Adin Hill.
Yeah, I mean, I guess good on Adin to be able to play under this type of conditions. You can tell the Golden Knights are being extremely careful with Adin Hill as far as his workload goes. He's been healthy the entire season. I think he had missed one start due to an illness, a little bit of the Four Nations flu, I guess. Otherwise, Adin Hill has been very healthy this season, and credit the Golden Knights for managing his workload. That's going to change come April the 20th or whenever the Stanley Cup playoffs start, because it's basically every other night, and Adin's going to be the man. And in other news, I feel like Ilya Samsonov, for my basketball people, is the Horace Grant of hockey. Dude gets a hangnail and he's gone.
Oh man!
I mean, Horace Grant had to be carried off worse than LeBron after.
Is he gonna wear those goggles next? Like
he might. And I mean, Samsonov. Listen, he kind of digs his own grave when it comes to stuff like this. Pockets of doing very well, pockets of not doing well, and something tightening up. I mean, hopefully that's simply all it is, something tightening up, and he's all right, because otherwise the Golden Knights do have 4 games, I believe, in the next 6 nights, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what it is, yeah.
Tomorrow against Edmonton, and Kira Schmid, we were actually at the the Silver Knights game on Saturday. He looked okay against Milwaukee, but it was a back-to-back situation where Milwaukee had played the night before. HSK played the night before as well. Both teams were a little bit sluggish, and Schmid definitely hasn't done a whole lot at that level, and he's likely the man and going to get possibly 1, maybe 2 starts if Samsonov is out at all for the upcoming future.
Okay, I thought we were going to talk about that in the third segment, but
that was just more about
top line surface.
I should have stopped after Horace Grant.
I know you had to get that line in today. Talk about the importance of Riley Smith contributing as he again breaks his goalless streak here game-winning goal for the Vegas Golden Knights, and it was good to see Riley Smith back right there on the rebound on the doorstep.
Riley Smith, I mean, listen, he was brought in to do a job. He was brought in to be a role player, and if he can score some goals, great. And it gives William Karlsson a line mate that he can expect from now until the end of the season, and I think that's the most important thing. If they can get the other piece of that line worked out, which Olofsson had a magnificent game. We'll talk about that in the second segment, even though that's listed in the first segment on the thing. We're going to have to talk with the intern after this. So, yeah, I mean, what William Karlsson and Riley Smith, that the chemistry, there you go, Tony Buzzword, the chemistry that they have, it'll take a little bit to rekindle, but it's kind of starting to come back. And I think no one's happier about Riley Smith's arrival than Victor Olofsson, because that's what got Olofsson back in the lineup, jumping on the William Karlsson line. So, yeah, I mean, Olofsson, maybe he'll find his scoring touch down the stretch. He went a long time without scoring goals, and all of a sudden, a couple healthy scratches too, and all of a sudden, he's on the right side of it now.
Yeah, Cassidy was saying that the IKEA line is back intact. Okay, I'm an IKEA line reject today, but yeah, you've got Olofsson and Karlsson, and Cassidy. Not a ton of swaying in the post-game presser, but he made mention of Olofsson and Karlsson talking Swedish to each other, so they have that connection there. But again, they did have a pretty good weekend together, and something could be developing there with that chemistry word.
Chemistry, of course, is becoming a buzzword, and a lot of people are talking about it as far as getting the lines consistent and things like that. Something you've been all over for about the last 3 to 4 weeks now, and finally it's all kind of coming together. So VGK certainly seems to be starting to fire on all, I don't know how many cylinders they have, but firing on, I don't know, all 4 cylinders doesn't feel right either, but they're firing on all cylinders right now. If there's one knock and it's something they can't control, it's the schedule. While back when there was about, I don't know, 20 games remaining, we highlighted that VGK had the 8th easiest schedule. Again, they can't control that. All they can do is win the games that are in front of them, and they're doing a good job of that. Will they be, I don't think this is the team that needs to be playoff tested when the playoffs start. They're Stanley Cup proven. So as far as having a soft schedule down the stretch isn't going to matter a whole lot, because there's enough players that can turn it on when it matters.
I thought that Justus Annunen was pretty good for the Predators. Only 2 goals on 26 shots he gave up, and I thought he did a bulk of the work there and especially since their defense wasn't great for the Nashville Predators on Saturday. I did want to talk about the the Jack Eichel big goal celebration this weekend. So he's starting to feel 100, right? Because he's
been 100 the entire season, Tony. He's feeling
it, right? I think right now.
I see what you're getting at. He's definitely in the Happy Gilmore, feeling the flow, feeling however it's all in the hips, all that stuff. Yeah.
No, that was pretty good, and it's good to see him closing in. Was he at like 93? I'm never on target.
I've got the stats 93? Right here. Don't worry.
Is it 93?
93, Tony. Have some confidence. 93 points.
93.
708 from a century mark with 9 games to go. I think. I mean, it's not safe until it happens, but it's pretty likely at this point.
And the only drama there, you throw me off here with this slate here today.
I fixed it.
Okay, Hillstrong. Okay, good. Okay,
I fixed it.
Back. Oh,
the intern fixed it.
Okay, thanks, man. Thanks for taking care of that. And O'Reilly also it was going to be the equalizer goal, but there was goalie interference, and that was a no doubt goalie interference call.
Good, because I didn't see it, so I didn't watch that part. So I'm glad there wasn't anything. I'm glad you need anything more than me out of that one, because I didn't see that part.
All right, what part did you see?
I watched bits and pieces of the first period. I'll tell you what happened. We went to this was Saturday, right? We went to the Tacos and Tamales Fest over in Desert Breeze.
Nice. How was it?
I rode the swing ride, and it's killed my vertigo and equilibrium and everything else that's screwed up in my head already. So I had a nice little nap, woke up, had to do some work, and then we had to head to the Silver Knights game. So really didn't watch a whole lot of the game, to be completely honest. But I saw some highlights. It was fine. I mean, scoreboard watching, it's the type of game that you need to have on March the 29th March the 30th against a not great opponent. And maybe they're a little bit bored. And we'll talk about that in Chicago as well. Again, a little bit bored at times, not much of a pushback. And then VGK decides to get engaged in the game, and they walk away with a victory that didn't really have. I mean, yeah, it was a close game on paper, but it really didn't feel like that. Like there wasn't a whole lot of worry while you're watching either of these games. Of course, the Nashville game. So it's good on VGK not to be playing down to the competition right now. They are in a sense because they're not blowing them out, but it's still the NHL. It's still great teams, even the Sharks and the Preds. It's still NHL players. And you're not just going to go and win every game 6-1, 7-1 just because they're on the bottom of the standings.
Did you see the Rangers bus hit Celebrini's car the other night? Yeah, that was kind of rough after the game.
Rangers finally hit something.
They finally, they got something. Yeah, they made some good contact there.
And then Celebrini's car.
And then I really
what did he drive?
It was a nice sports car. I definitely wanted to see the national anthem. And I was hoping that bongo guy was performing the anthem. Remember that? Did you see a couple of weeks ago?
Bono? You
no,
too?
Bongo, the bongo guy.
Wait, we have bongo national anthem now.
So he played the bongos and sang along. And then after the game, Trevor Zegras said, yeah, like we settled down after the bongo guy performed the national anthem. You didn't see that? You need to check that out.
One of the best national anthems. Hold on. We're not done yet. One of the best national anthems. Well, first of all, they didn't show the Blackhawks one, but one of the best national anthems I've ever seen. I think it was a college basketball game. I'm sure this person's done a lot more places, but he draws a picture. He paints a picture while he sings. Wow. Then he flips it over at the last second. Do you remember that?
Upside down.
Yeah.
I know a number of artists that do that, but yeah, that's cool.
It's amazing. Okay. Anyway, now we can go next segment, Tony.
Okay, we're going to be continuing Paint by Numbers. Coming up next, we'll recap that Chicago win after these messages right here on Locked On Golden Knights. March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you a chance to get into the action like never before. It's been all chalk right now. All number ones in the Final Four for the first time since 2008. And right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 extra bucks to use on everything from a buzzer beater. And there are no Cinderella stories left, but you can also now bet on who's going to be cutting down the nets. And there should be really a couple of really good semifinal games and the championship game. Again, I picked a lot of favorites here in my Final Four. I have my brackets, and I have 4 number ones. I just couldn't see anyone knocking off these teams here. So I've got my eye on, again, all of these teams. Should be very competitive. Final Four San Antonio coming up this weekend. And you can take a look at the point spreads, the totals, and the game props. And it's really a lot of fun to get into the action. FanDuel and the app, so simple to use. When you win, you get paid instantly, and that's a big deal. There's no waiting around. So visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action as we have the Final Four coming up this weekend. Welcome back on this edition, a new week of Locked On Golden Knights. April Fool's Day tomorrow.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we don't do pranks on this show. We're not real good at that, but maybe we'll bring in Bongo Guy. That'd be a nice April Fool's celebration. Zegras was so off kilter in the post-game interview. He's like, yeah. And he was real serious about it. He goes, he kind of distracted us, and then we finally got into our game. Of course, don't forget on Fridays, we've got WTF. Saturdays, sometimes the Chris and Chris Jr. show. For being a cellar dweller, with just 21 wins, the Chicago Blackhawks have been a tough out for VGK. What are you doing? What is that?
I got a Chrome Dome.
Oh,
your favorite. You got a Chrome Dome.
Okay, so I did attend some of the Silver Knights game the other night, and talk about distractions. They're wearing the silver Chrome Dome.
I love the Chrome Domes. I love the gold domes. Oh, my
goodness. Oh, yeah. The Golden Knights have worn those just once this year? I don't recall.
Did they wear once?
That's a great question, man. And we might want to have the intern put that up there. I think we need to do a mailbag and then do some sort of a maybe between periods survey of sorts here. Okay, where were we? Oh, so the Blackhawks, right? So they're 1-2 against VGK, but realistically, Chicago could have won 2 of 3 as they played VGK very tough. The Golden Knights needed to rally from a goal down after a couple of periods, but VGK scored 3 unanswered goals in the third period. Olofsson, Dorofeev, the game winner on the power play with 3:10 to go, and then another empty netter for the new empty net guy, Brett Howden of the Brett Howden line. 5-3 VGK wins, despite a Ryan Donato hat trick. And over the weekend, Bruce Cassidy said that he was pleased that he's getting production from different players now every night. So that is a good sign for the Golden Knights.
If there was one concern that was maybe coming up throughout the season, it was early in the season, it was the Jack Eichel line being the only line scoring, Barbashev and Mark Stone. Tomas Hertl then changed that narrative sometime in about late November, December, and provided some incredible balance. Of course, the emergence of Pavel Dorofeev is amazing to see as well. Now, the third line of Olofsson, Smith, and Carlson is a hybrid line where Carlson and Smith both are going to be defense first type of players.
The IKEA line.
The IKEA line. Olofsson has a deadly lethal, two of the same adjectives, deadly lethal shots that doesn't need a lot of time and space to be productive.
If it's lethal,
you
it's
saw
deadly,
that on.
Sure. I think you could just say lethal. I think that.
Yeah, no, I like deadly and lethal. It was really good. It was that good of a shot. 12th goal of the year, but it was his third goal of the game, which was his 13th. Pardon me.
It was a shot pass goal.
The pass. Well, the pass was great. Number one from Riley, but the shots, if you watch, there was one replay that kind of showed the north-south angle from behind Olofsson, and the window he had to put that in to score. The fact that he was able to do that, it was the equivalent of one of those shoot a puck intermission games where the hole is barely bigger than the puck, and you got to get it through there to score the goal. And that's the window that Olofsson found, but it's not luck with Olofsson. He's shooting for that spot, and he'll hit that spot more times than he won't. So, again, back to the balance, and the transition game was on display. Both of Olofsson's goals were a result of great transition, either one from the neutral zone, one from the defensive zone. And that's back to the balance we just talked about right now.
It's kind of funny, though, because we get blasted for a lot of things, but then when something comes true, then fans are like, wow, you guys really said that last week or right there currently. We have good timing and good insight into this team.
What do we say? What are you taking a victory lap on right now?
Everything.
Okay, fair enough.
I didn't know where I was going with that. So I had to just get that out there. So VGK, thank you, ESPN Stats, with 101 goals in the third period. That leads the NHL in that category. 5-0, the Golden Knights on that 2-game excursion here in the back-to-back this weekend in the third period. So they're getting some late scoring. So that is a big number as far as just timely goals, scheduled. Are they scheduled goals now? Scoring late in games, I think.
You take a victory lap on unscheduled losses. You can do that.
I don't think I started that. I think that was you for sure. But yeah, talk about their closing out games now and scoring goals late.
It's championship pedigree is the answer to that. This is where all the playoff and Stanley Cup championship experience comes into play. And this is why a second ago I referenced the easy schedule, and other teams who lack playoff experience will hurt from having the type of schedule that VGK has had down the stretch. On the flip side to that, it doesn't matter with the Golden Knights. The championship pedigree, the championship coaching, the experience, it's the bench's second complete year together. That's something that was kind of quiet last season that might have negatively impacted the team outside of the injuries.
Chemistry.
And it matters. I mean, chemistry everywhere certainly matters. And it is all coming together despite some injuries. We'll talk, of course, more about Samsonov. Pietrangelo went from kind of a quiet, going to miss a game to not traveling on the trip. Hurdle, we're getting some mixed things now. Maybe that situation might not be as bad. Well, I don't know if I'm buying that yet, but we'll see if he gets back on the ice for practice this week. So it could all come together as far as these injuries and such, and maybe it could be a real long playoff run for the Golden Knights, which would be a lot of fun right now.
I thought it was it was comical for sure. I thought it was funny that after we had mentioned on Friday's show, hey, it's been too quiet. No one's asking the question about Hurdle, Pietrangelo, what have you. And then the questions came out
from the road media. From the road media.
Of course.
The road media.
It was, I'm sorry, man. Mark Stone,
it was a quick answer, really fast. So Cassidy was asked about Pietrangelo and Hurdle, if there was much of an update. And it was basically they're not on the trip. And that's not good nor bad, is what he said.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, he was funny this past weekend. He definitely had.
Well, he didn't expect the question because
it wasn't.
He knew he wasn't getting the question from. That's local.
Right. Is that a question? Was that a question there? And then Stone playing consistent hockey, and I gotta hand it to you. I'm just gonna be back patting the rest of the way here this season. For you saying that Stone you thought would have a really good season, and that I know you had said that Mark Stone would play a lot of games, so that's good.
I predicted 75 games. I'm going to come up short on that prediction.
That's a huge number. I was like, no, there's no way. But you're going to get close, right? How many?
He's going to get in somewhere in the upper 60s as long as he plays all the remaining
games. Still
games.
Tremendous.
That's phenomenal. I mean,
yeah.
Again, there's some season left here, but Eichel 81 games, Mark Stone about 68 games. Hurdle, I mean, he's at 70 games right now. If that number can go up just by one between now and the playoffs, that's remarkable. Of course, Theodore is back right now. Pietrangelo feels like a shutdown situation, which is good if that's the case. That's fine. So we'll see. How that shakes out.
Yeah, that's what someone was giving us credit for saying. I think it was you that started that campaign about
and Ben
shutting
Hutton
down.
drawing in a game. I think you got kudos for that one.
Yeah. Sometimes we get it right. We throw a lot of stuff out there. Did I see Hannafin still out there as QB1 on the power play?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that, honestly.
No, he's been out there. Yeah, for sure.
Let me see. I can look on the.
Again, I think that it's Cassidy not wanting to break up any of the consistency.
Hannafin's out there.
Yeah. And so
it's number one power play. Why are you going to change it right now? Why are you going to change it?
You're absolutely
and to be fair, it was number two power play with Theodore, so it's not like it was bad by any means.
That's the biggest
number one power play
season.
What the WTM?
What the Monday? Yeah, I think I was the one that said they'll finish first there. In the power play unit scoring. Coming up next. No, I didn't say that. Coming up next, Samsonov comes up lame.
You like that?
Kind of.
Do you like that?
Those strange terms there.
I get the horse reference in there every now and then.
Yeah, thank you, man. Oh, so yesterday.
Oh boy, here we go.
What's running now? Aqueduct had to shut down the races yesterday because of noise coming from a March Madness music festival. It was so loud that it was disturbing the horses. These are New York horses, man. They hear shootings and they hear all sorts of things.
New York horses.
I mean, they're New York, bro. They shouldn't be bothered by a little noise.
They're new horses.
Coming up next. Oh, yeah. We'll return right after this on Lockdown Golden Knights.
Oh, boy.
Welcome back on Lockdown Golden Knights. They're tough, man. New York horses, bro. They shouldn't be bothered by any sort of noise. Subways, screeching.
Car chase. There you go. That's for you.
Car chases. Oh, yeah, that was a good one the other day. The guy just mowed over with his truck it was 15 cars that he ran into. Steals a truck, runs into 15 cars, and then finally careens out of control and then hits a barrier, almost goes through like a store, hits a barrier. He does the sign of the cross, gets out, and just nonchalantly tries to walk away. Okay, Where are we? I digress. We're talking hockey here. And horses, you shouldn't be bothered by. They literally shut down the races due to a noise factor. Okay, Fridays, WTF. Let's save some of this for then. So we want to talk about the backup plan if there needs to be one for the backstop position. As we saw, I was kind of surprised there because I turned on the TV and they go, it'll be Adin Hill in net tonight because Ilya Samsonov came. He didn't come up lame. I don't know what they said, but they said that all of a sudden something tightened up. So Bruce Cassidy very much concerned about now the team playing, as you mentioned earlier, 4 games in 6 days. And so what if they don't have the services of Ilya Samsonov coming up here during this stretch, which is a pivotal one for the Golden Knights?
I mean, the last time Samsonov went down, he missed about 2 weeks or something like
what was
that.
it? Was it an ailment? Was it an ailment? No,
it was something. I don't know. It was after he got shredded by the Kings. I think it was in October or something like that, or November, and he was gone for a while. But the schedule worked out. It didn't really matter a whole lot as far as Adin Hill being able to play a long rush of games. So that's good there. But now fast forward to the present. Golden Knights got games on Tuesday and Thursday, home against Edmonton, home against Winnipeg. And then Friday and Saturday and Sunday, they are in Calgary and Vancouver. So basically, the target is, can Samsonov be okay by, Saturday?
Yeah.
Can Samsonov be okay by Sunday? That's what matters right now. If it's not Samsonov, even though Schmidt is not having the better of the season between the two goalies, I think Schmidt will get the call up based on his NHL experience. But 886 save percentage, 358 goals against in Henderson. Now, you take that with a grain of salt because their defense is terrible. They're a terrible team. They can't win games. They can't do a lot of things right. That's just how it's been for a while. That's the price. That's one of the prices this team pays for their NHL success, and that's a trade that often anyone will take. Carl Lindbaum, again, this is a name that I am going to keep bringing up. Played the exact same. I like his numbers. I mean, it's pretty simple. I saw him in
that a little bit the other night. I watched a little bit of that game.
He's played the exact same number of games as Schmid, so there's no starter in Henderson right now. 262 goals against, again, on the same crappy Silver Knights team, and a 914 save percentage. That's the number that gets me right now. This is a goalie that I don't think needs any more AHL time. Yeah, I think he's an AHL-ready goaltender right now.
Who did they send down? One of my guys. They sent to Tahoe. It's not down, it's up. I mean, Cassidy would say they sent him down.
Fleming? Did they get rid of Fleming? That's the only guy that you know on Tahoe.
They sent him to Tahoe.
It's unfortunate.
I know. It was very unfortunate. And then you have
sandpaper.
And then you have Akira Schmid, 3.58 goals against, 886 I saw. So he seems to be falling off there a little bit. He's not. You said earlier, you think he's going to get some time on the NHL?
Oh, I think knowing the way Cassidy operates and the Golden Knights, they want the experience.
Wow. Okay.
And that said, that's why I think Lindbaum also, I don't know if they want to start like.
I'd not pass him up.
There's games, there's a number of games you play and waivers can come into play and stuff like that. They might not want to start the clock on Lindbaum, but if it's a spot start one game, I would love to see Lindbaum get that chance on Sunday. On the road against against the Flames, is it? Against Vancouver. I would love to see Lindbaum make his debut. And if things had fallen apart with Adin Hill, which they almost did as far as the negotiations went, I would have been really curious to see what Lindbaum's role would have been next year. And who knows?
So here's the actual press release. New York Racing Association has canceled Sunday's 8-race card at Aqueduct Racetrack due to the unacceptable noise levels created by the March Madness Auto and Bike Show. It was an auto and bike show.
This sounds like a lawsuit, Tony. That's what this sounds like. They're naming it. Oh, yeah.
The event was held at the neighboring Resorts World Casino, and the New York Racing Association was not notified in advance. It could be not notified in advance that the event would create potentially unsafe racing conditions as cars are being revved up. Music was playing loud. No gunshots that I know of, but the horses are used to that. They're used to that noise in New York, man.
I don't know. I mean, it's one thing when
like,
it's just general highway noise and an occasional police siren going
isn't that
by.
crazy,
But
though? I've never heard of that.
you're talking about the bass and the thumping, and you are talking a safety issue. I mean, speaking of weekend failures, the White Sox, they usually are just terrible when the game is playing. They couldn't even get the tarp down. They had a weather delay on Sunday afternoon. It was a beautiful day, and then all of a sudden weather came in off the lake, I think. And they got the tarp halfway down. They couldn't fold it over. So they had to bring out like a bunch of little mini tarps to cover up home plate and first base and the first baseline and everything. So the White Sox can't even only fail while the game is being played. They fail when the game is not being played. So that's how terrible they are. In standard White Sox fashion, they won the home opener 9-1 or 9-2 or something like that. Then they scored a combined, I think, 3 runs in the last 2 games and lost 2 close games. So
how about my Yankees? Using the new torpedo bats.
Yeah. They put the logo right in the sweet spot, so they get a little more connection.
Have you seen that? And so they're getting
cheaters, Tony.
Well, no more than Jack.
There's Sammy Sosa and Albert Bell out there.
No more than Eichel with the longest stick in the NHL. I mean, don't they measure sticks? No, seriously, don't they?
There is a rule. There was a rule that I think was created based on Zdeno Chara, where sticks could only be a certain length. But then they correlated to the player's height, I believe.
Okay, it's still the longest stick. It's still much. I bet
it's not the longest stick because a centerman wouldn't use the longest stick. They need a shorter stick compared to other players. But it's long. But it's probably long for a center, but not that long.
They need torpedo sticks.
Defense uses longer sticks. Forwards and centers use shorter sticks.
Okay, we appreciate everyone tuning in. We're getting out of control here.
Supposed to what?
Yeah,
that happened when I said hood horses in the second segment, Tony.
We had to get going on the horses. Don't get me started here. We appreciate everyone tuning in, especially our everydayers that put up with us each and every day. Again, find us wherever you get your podcast. Please subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. For my man, Chris Kolick, I am Tony Cardasco. Have a great day, great start of the week. We'll see you again tomorrow right here on Locked On Golden Knights. And please take care.